It's every car person's dream to come across a barn find of their favorite car and get to bring it back to life. And in the last episode, I got to do just that. I found a legendary JDM Hero car with a super clean engine swap that's been parked sitting in its garage for over 10 years untouched, and I'm gonna bring it back to life. This is my new to me 1998 240SX. And if you're disappointed because it's not a Supra or an NSX, let me explain why this car is so special. Well, the first generation of the 240SX, the S13, sold over 200,000 units in the United States. The S14s, much more rare. And this, the final version of the S14 in the United States, the Kouki, they only made 6,000 units. So let me put that into perspective for you. They made over 11,000 JZA80 or Mark IV Supras, over 7,000 flip headlight NSXs. So this car is actually more rare than some of the big dogs. When I found this car, I could not stop thinking about it. And once the E36 was finally sold, I decided to pull the trigger on it. This wasn't a car I was looking for at the time, but it's a car I'm looking for all of the time, if that makes any sense at all. 240SXs were cheap throwaway drift cars. They got absolutely destroyed in the early 2000s. So finding a clean, unmolested, mostly original 240SX, especially the S14 Kouki, is a pretty rare find. I felt like I needed to do my service to the community of bringing this thing back to life. So the owner of this car purchased it in 2003. It was actually his first car ever. And while in the United States, these cars came with a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, the KA24, which was pretty much a truck engine. In 2008, the previous owner actually took this car to a legendary shop in Las Vegas called Get Nuts Lab, and they swapped in a full S15 Spec R drivetrain. This is a SR20 DET 4-cylinder turbo. It's the blacktop notchback version of the engine with a T28 turbo. It's not just an engine swap. It also has the S15 6-speed, and apparently it has the S15 helical limited slip. We're gonna check it out, because when I got to buy this car, I started it up in the guy's driveway, but he didn't want me to drive it because it's been sitting for a long time. So let's see what we're getting ourselves into, get this car up on the lift, check everything out, get some of the maintenance up to date. The first thing I want to do is I've been dying to see under this car, not only to test and see if it actually has a limited slip, let's see how well the swap is done. This car actually has uncrunched rocker panels, so putting it on the lift is like terrifying. I don't want to be the first.
I don't want to be responsible for the beautiful pink.
Boy. Boy.
It's back.
Oh.
Nope.
We've got some form of oil leak from the sway bar, because I think back in the 90s, they were using oil-filled sway bars to keep things from swaying.
Dude, everything else is actually pretty dry.
Yeah, but what the hell? What makes stuff this wet?
So that line.
It has to be something. What is that? Is that power steering? This is horrible. Like,
at least it'll be really satisfying to clean.
Oh! There's just like a banjo fitting. Just.
Dude, is that?
What the hell is this?
We gotta get the car back down and see now. Get the little needle nose, long boy.
A long boy?
Or a flathead would do. Or an angled pick. That would be the best. Keep making that noise. Getting nowhere.
I don't have any of it.
Stop. Yeah, reach on in there. I think it's still connected to something.
That is connected to something. Okay, so we got a rogue banjo bolt, lots of oil. The oil continues all the way down here. Everything is soaked on this car. Wiring looks all right. Cleaned up. Ooh, the Sustec Pro Tanabe.
Sustec
You're
Pro.
Sustec all the time, dude. I gotta say though, the swap looks pretty good. Like, it doesn't look like they did any really wonky work. I was trying to do some research on how to tell if this is an S15 diff or not. So if you're trying to figure out if your car has a limited slip or not, there's a really simple way to do, which is you take one wheel while the car is in the air and you spin it, and the other wheel should spin. I don't know if that's true with helical limited slips. Maybe they need some force. The next thing I want to check, see how wheel bearings, hubs, and all that stuff are. And we're going to lower this thing down and see if we can figure out where this oil leak is coming from. Feels like It needs some tie rod ends. It's got some slop back and forth. So the way you could always test this stuff side to side is tie rod ends because you're testing out your steering. Up and down would be your ball joints because you're going with a lateral movement or vertical movement. And then if it wiggles every way, it's your wheel bearing. And this feels more like it's just a tie rod end. Check the other side, check the rears. Yeah, this one's good. This has like no play side to side. Feels like it just needs one tie rod end on the front, which honestly, those are really cheap and they're super easy to replace. Rear feels good. This feels good too. Second suspect part of the car, Godspeed intercooler. This power steering pump looks pretty dirty up top, which would make sense because if it leaks from the power steering and the belt's slinging around, it could be all over the sway bar. I do want to do a compression test. I got some new spark plugs for it and do an oil change. I just want to hose it off. I know it's kind of dumb to change the oil while the car has an oil leak and I may have to do it, but honestly, the SR20 only runs 3.5 quarts of oil. So it's cheap enough to change and I'm kind of worried about continuing to start the car with really old oil that might have condensation in it. Spinning a bearing on what's now like a $7,000 engine would totally suck. Cheap insurance. Oh wow, that is super black. Punch in on how gross that oil is.
Really punch it. Wow, the bone. Made to punch.
I'll just be here for a bit now. Real watery, real dark. Dude, let's see how clean this sway bar is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this.
Holy.
Probably just shaved off 2 pounds. Where's the oil filter on this puppy?
In there.
No
Yeah.
way!
It has like a Jay-Z location.
In what world? How do you change that?
Dude, JDM Motors.
Get out of here!
Yeah, your subframe's gonna get coated.
What? What?
This was built for Japanese people with really tiny hands.
You're down there.
This is an up here job.
Get the oil filter off.
Oh, what was that noise?
Looking like you're gonna need a tool.
I might have a tool.
No way.
Find out right now.
I also have a tool.
Oh no, direct hit.
Huh? 12. What? 12/29/2014. Wow. You know, the Ferrari's easier to work on than the 240. I did a manual swap in a Ferrari. It was easier than this.
You were further along.
Maybe Italians are just bigger humans in general, so they made cars easier to work on because they knew everyone was gonna have like ginormous hands. Ginormous cannoli eating hands.
Just for cannolis.
As they're building it, they just can throw sausages in there just to make sure there's clearance.
Emulates fingers, Italian fingers.
Again.
Giuseppe! Guys, it's your favorite part of the video where I get to add some oil. In the Ferrari 360 gated manual first drive, I would say half of the comments were about that I don't know how to pour oil. So I did extensive research on how to pour in my Pennzoil Platinum Ultra Synthetic 5W30. The most important thing to do is you always want to be able to look at the logo. People were saying you want to pour it like this, but that's a myth because the bottle's backwards. So what you want to do is you just look at it, and you just get it right in. And then see, there's no opportunity for it to spill.
No! That's not what I was expecting. Holy shit.
Best thing I've ever directed.
Yo, that's real tears.
When you get better, you beat gravity. All right, let's test the theory out.
This boy feels scary.
So much higher
You
up.
gotta wait for it.
Ah, crap. I think they were right. Oh, it works!
Wow, dude, it's not plugging at all.
It doesn't glug one bit.
Thank you, comment well.
Yo, comment well, shout out. Without you guys, I don't know where I'd be. I think I'd just be pouring oil all over engines.
Just glugging.
You could still finish like that though.
Hell yeah, brother.
I want to change the spark plugs because when I was driving the car around, I felt that it had a little bit of like a backfire issue. It could be bad gas, or the spark plugs are really old. So I want to do one thing to check the health of the engine, which is to do a compression test. And what that means is you're actually checking the pressure that the engine creates in each combustion chamber, and it'll tell us how healthy the engine is. This is actually a good tool for you guys to know that you could rent this from AutoZone or O'Reilly. Compression tester, a lot of times if I'm buying a car that's higher price tag, I'll actually bring this to where I'm buying it and do it on site. It'll save you a lot of headache. I didn't do that on this car, so I took a little bit of a risk, but we're gonna check it out right now. And basically what you're gonna do is put this into a spark plug hole, and then you're gonna crank the engine and you're going to get a readout here. If you don't know what PSI your engine should be, at least look for consistency. Hey Al, you wanna go in the car and crank it for me?
I'd love to.
Okay. All right, good. All right, so our reading so far, cylinder 1 good, cylinder 2 also good. We're looking at like right around 130 PSI, which is perfect. All right, good. For you guys that might have been concerned about not filling up the oil filter before starting the car, well, the engine's been warmed. I knew we were gonna do a compression test, which means we're gonna be cranking the car over a bunch. So the oil filter had tons of time to prime and fill up before we'll start the car after all this. So not completely negligent, I'm just thinking through. All right, crank it. All right, good. So we got about 130 PSI on all cylinders, which means the motor's super healthy. So it gives you a little bit of peace of mind knowing that the motor's strong.
Tough, that was a hard job.
Gonna change out the spark plugs real quick because these are crusty. I just got a new set of NGKs. We're gonna gap them. These are what's considered stock heat range. It's a 6 heat range for the SR20. They should come at like a 0.38 gap, which should be fine because we're only running like 11 pounds of boost on this car. On turbo cars, you generally wanna do a smaller gap or a tighter gap for right here, because what it's doing is closing that up will actually prevent the boost from blowing out the spark. I don't think we have to worry about it in this situation, but it's always good to at least check it with some feeler gauges. So you wanna make sure that these are about 032 to 038. I'm gonna go a little bit tighter, like 032. Big and thick, just like your boy. Okay, so this one's actually tighter than they say it is from the factory, so it's great. Al, you're on spark plug checking duty. I'm dumping these boys in.
No way.
Cork spec, tight. Charlie, trade you this car for your JZX90.
Hell no.
Why not?
I like my back seats.
This has a back seat.
I like my back doors.
This one's manual.
Mine's is you. Fuck you. Mine's is also manual. Don't ruin my life for a second phase.
Have you been inside yet?
No. Tell us.
Hurt, you ain't shit. Your wheels keep beating.
Isn't your 370 automatic?
As you can see here, there's a shifter. Oh wait, is this manual? I thought it was automatic.
No, I swapped it. I lied.
Oh, you were? Yeah. I was gonna be like, for $1 a day, we can get this boy a CDO.
This car looks really good. I went around and told everyone the car was automatic.
So we're gonna look into this oil leak. So first off, good sign is that the turbo outlet is dry. I doubt the turbo is blown because usually you'll have a lot of oil in your intercooler pipe. I actually think it's a power steering leak. Fluid looks good. So all of the wetness starts up here. So near the pump, this line is so crusty.
Was it a track car? Maybe it was sloshing.
There's no wetness on the center cartridge of the turbo. I seriously think it's just all power steering fluid coming from here. It might be a lot easier of a fix than it seems, but it is really messy. Start by cleaning the engine bay. I'm gonna degrease it, power wash it down, and then I'll drive the car a bit and see if we could better identify where the source of it is, because the turbo inlet and outlet are not coated in oil. I don't see an oil leak anywhere here, so it really looks like the source of it may be coming from the power steering reservoir, and it might just be hitting the belts and then getting slung all over the place. We're gonna start there, so let's get this thing cleaned up, and then we'll start summarizing everything that this car needs, everything I discovered, and what we're gonna do with it. Hold up, turn this thing back on. Did you just put a spicy motor in this and it don't even have a lick of chop going to it?
No chop. Total street cam. It's anti-zap.
Wow. So this is Jason's Mark II GTI he bought on Bring a Trailer recently. How many miles are on this thing?
60,000 kilometers.
It's so nice. A spicy 8-valve and added air conditioning to it. Why keep the 8-valve and not do a 16?
I just wanted it to look OEM plus. Plus. When you pop the hood, it doesn't look like anything, but it's got an extra 25, 30 horsepower.
You know Jason is like deep Volkswagen nerd. Built 8-valve. Built 8-valve. Had a 16-valve turbo. What's in it now?
Built 8-valve.
You have to be so far into it to appreciate the single cam, non-cross flow 8-valve Volkswagen engine.
Simplicity.
Dude, I hope my Mark II comes out 50% as clean. You wanna try to drive it?
Try.
Hell yeah.
Did you see what CD's in here?
Yes?
Oh my god, dude.
Oh my God, come on, we're gonna get a licensing strike. When's the last time you drove stick?
Remember when we had those Fiat Abarths?
Business crap, back into the office.
How do you know what you're doing? You're not even looking.
Cause I'm talented, dude. How do you feel in this car? You look like you fit nice.
Yeah, I think so. It's made for Japanese people.
Do you need me to tell you what to do, or you think you could just figure it out? If you get nervous, to just clutch in and clutch and brakes. Okay, now let up on the clutch slowly and wait until it grabs. Yeah, see? And feel the grab point. Good. No, now you can let it out smooth. Once it gets that grab point, let it out nice and smooth.
Put it out?
Yeah, there you go. Nice and smooth. Rest of the way out. All the way off. There you go. Hey! No stall. Nice. I'm proud. Yeah, maybe we just make this your daily driver. Wow. Honestly, this clutch is pretty grabby too, so you're doing great. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do is let the car settle to a stop, because rolling back will make it harder, and then give it a go. Wow, great. Dude, you're killing it. Amy! Oh my God. Oh, I'm so proud. Okay, now you can shift. Clutch in. Boom. And now just make a big old U-turn. Don't crash into that motorcycle that's hidden in the dusty windshield. Dude, Amy, you're a ripper. Like, floor it for a second, get some blow-off valve to pop. Amy!
Did it.
Nice work. You're good. Amy doesn't really want to make a 3-point turn in this small parking lot, so I'm going to take over. Damn, that was sick. Dude, this is sick. We're going to leave a stock seat in this car so you could drive this thing. Now I want to keep it. I always say, if you're gonna clean your engine bay, I never really worry about like spraying water on the motor, but try to get it really hot first, because what that'll do is it'll help evaporate if it gets in any like crevices or in any plugs. So I get the engine nice up to operating temp. I'm gonna spray it down with some degreaser, and then we'll just scrub what we could, power wash it out, and see what it does. A little bit of effort goes a long way in keeping the engine bay looking pretty nice. Damn, she sounds good now. Look what the cat dragged in. What's up, dude?
Buy a new car.
Yeah, I did. You want to trade for this pile?
I think I'm good. Well, you miss your S14?
Come on, man, you can't.
I'm not digging on it. I'm just saying, do you miss it?
This one's better.
Have you banged gears in this yet?
Amy just did.
What's up?
You can really see that this car has absolutely no protection left on the paint. Jeez. Like there's just nothing. This car has some actually pretty rare Graham Light 57D. So I'm gonna try to take care of it. I'm gonna hit him with a little like iron remover to see if I can get rid of some of this like really deep brake dust in there. Because even if I convert this car to 5-lug, it would be nice to be able to sell these wheels. So I wanna try to clean them up as best as possible. I don't know what it does, but it's like an iron remover. So it'll help lift those out without damaging the wheel. Because this is like the stuff you could scrub back constantly and it doesn't go away. I just scrubbed this thing down and power washed it, and you could still rub dirt off of it.
The old truck move where you just like real slow push with the power washer.
Yeah. This sound right here, ready? The drying sound.
Real sandpapery.
Dude, I can't tell if this paint has pearl or if this is just sand in the paint. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like some allegation. It's got some allegations on the paint right here. So the paint looks pretty crummy, but there are some really good signs here. It looks like it's got VIN tags on it in all the right spots. It looks like it's all original paneling, which is cool. Everyone who takes their car to the slapper wash, this is what you end up with. I guarantee it could bring this back to life at least like 90%. So I'm not super worried about the swirls and big scratches. Now, this fender has been repainted and has some like clear coat issue. The hood, super scratched up. And this like dirt that you're seeing on the hood, I can't tell if the paint was metallic. Something's wrong with it. Front bumper has a little crack. I got a little clear coat burn here, which I noticed. But overall, it's not terrible. It's got a couple little dings and dents. I don't really know if this is the type of condition that I want to try to restore the paint, or if I'm better off just getting a kit for it and bringing it to Ivan and just having it resprayed. It might cost about what it would cost to paint the car to try to fix this thing up. Now that I've ran through the car, I've had it up on the lift, I've looked under the hood, I've got it cleaned up and gave it a full inspection. We could go over everything that I found on this car, the positives, the negatives, and most importantly, what it's gonna cost to get this thing back into its former glory. And my first category, exterior. I've listed out all the positives that are blatantly obvious because I need to make myself feel better about this purchase. It has all the OEM panels, great, which means it has been in no accidents. Positive. It's an original Kouki. No rust, and honestly, the car is super complete, which is really important to me, especially when you're trying to put things back together. It could be a huge pain. The downside, the car needs an entire respray. I'm always a proponent of original paint, but when you're talking about a car in this value range, that like sub $30,000 price range, I don't think that original paint really matters that much. I feel like a good paint job on a car to bring this thing back to life won't really hurt the value of it and get a way nicer car. Next up, the mechanicals. Under my smile category, it's honestly pretty sick, to be honest. An S15 notch top SR20 DET that is really strong with great compression, a 6-speed transmission that shifts really nice. Under the sad face, it may or may not have an S15 diff. We'll get to that in a second. The only things we found wrong with it mechanically are pretty small. So it has either an oil or a power steering leak. I think it's power steering. Now that we've cleaned up the engine bay, we'll be able to see where that leak is coming from much more easily. The second one is I'm unsure if it has a limited slip. I'm not gonna lie, I did a little donut before in the parking lot and it feels like it has a limited slip. I don't know, you guys out there might know better than me. This car should have a helical limited slip, but when it's on the lift, the wheels spin independently. But I thought that was wrong. So I don't know, tell me if I'm just wrong and is that how a helical works on the lift? Because these sure do look like limited slip marks. Other than that, it needs a tie rod end and it needs a tie rod boot. Overall, this thing is super strong mechanically. And then other little things is like it has old tires, but I knew that and that's not a problem because I'd like to switch the wheels and tires on it anyway. Having a S14 with an uncracked dash, working air conditioning, 100% complete interior, and all OEM bodywork is a win to me, so I'm really happy that I purchased this car. I am a little bit bummed that I have to repaint it because repainting cars is never cheap, which is a bummer. I do think it'll be worth it when we're done. Brings me into my next question. I don't know. My original plan was to clean this car up, teach you guys what's necessary to make money on buying and selling a car and trading it into my next car. Will I still do that? I don't know, because seeing Amy drive it was pretty cool, and I feel like that'd be a sick daily driver for her. Could do that with a JZX also, so I'm not sure. I got a bad update. I don't know how this happened, but it happened to me. I got scammed. Look at this. Branded title. This is insane because I have Carfaxed so many cars that have had odometer discrepancies on them with no title branding. I ran a car vertical report on this car before I bought it and it showed the odometer discrepancy because older cars, sometimes you don't have to report the odometer. So it'll cause what's called a TMU, total mileage unknown. But Carfax, for some reason, is listing this as a branded title, which is complete bullshit. I'm gonna try to fight this because that really ruins the value of this car. And even though I'm not trying to just flip this thing, I did not buy a branded title car. It's sort of a disappointment. This actually came up because one of my friends who really wanted to buy the car and sent over the Carfax report and said, hey man, did you know this car had a branded title? In 2007, it just was issued the wrong mileage, 89,000. So it had 89,500, 89,100, 89,500. So for that little discrepancy, they issued a branded title, which the title itself is clear, but having that on the Carfax is really bad. I'm gonna look into this. I'm gonna keep you guys posted on what you can do because I've heard you could actually fight these with Carfax and have them change it. While I'm okay with it saying that there's a TMU on the car, I'm not down for Carfax to say it has a branded title. So so follow along on the build. I'll keep you guys posted on what I plan to do with it. This isn't a forever car for the channel, but it is something that we'll have fun with. We'll be able to drive it, enjoy it, make it better, and then maybe pass it along to someone else to enjoy so we can bring something new in and keep leveling up to get to a different car that we want. So comment below, let me know you think we can do it. I'll be in the comments, we'll figure it out. I'll keep you guys posted though. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Making videos every Thursday. I appreciate y'all for their support, but for now, I'm out. Hey, Amy. Caught. I'm super excited. Yeah!